Hello everyone and welcome back to lesson 2 in Python programming for IGCSE. So in this video I just want to start off by a quick recap on input commands and data types. So remember, we can create variables just by giving them a name and equals to a value, but we can also allow the user to input the value that they need. But when we do this, it's even more important that we include the right data type. So if I create a number and I want it to be a whole number, I need to use the data type integer and the keyword input. You can see I've opened two brackets, so I close two brackets at the end here. For name, I can just write the word input. I don't have to write anything else. And this is basically anything that any phrase, statement, letter, passage of writing, or even any numbers that you do not, and I say do not, want to do maths with, you can use this statement for. Open one bracket, close one bracket. Decimals, I use the keyword float, and again, input, and then open two brackets, close two brackets. For a single character, I use the keyword CHR, char, open two brackets, close two brackets. And then finally, if I want to add a true or false value, or the user to enter a true or false value, I use the keyword bool for boolean, and open two brackets, close two brackets. Okay, now you'll notice that this one here, the string, I don't need to type in the data type. Now this is because Python will automatically just assume that you want to do a string if you don't type anything. But if you want to be very implicit, you can use the keyword str and write it in like this, and it will work exactly the same. Okay, so if you want to keep all of your data types nicely and neatly labeled like that in your code, you can do that. But if you don't want to do that, Python will always assume if you don't put the data type that it is a string. Okay, so let's have a look at if statements here. So an if statement is basically something that allows your computer to make a choice. Okay, so let me, oh, my pen's gone a bit off there, but it allows the computer to make a choice. I won't be using my pen anymore because it's gone a bit out of sync, but that's fine. So the if statement will ask a question, and if the answer to that question is true, it will run code. If the answer to that question is false, it will not run the code. Okay, so let's just have a look at this a little bit more closely. We're writing some code. So let's say I have I'm just going to comment this out just so it doesn't run when we test it later. 3 speech marks in Python will comment out multiple lines. Okay, so now that will not be seen by the computer for multiple lines. It's an asterisk for single line, 3 speech marks at the start and 3 speech marks at the end for multiple lines. This is really handy if you want to keep code to reference but you don't want to run it when you're testing. It's a very, very handy tool. All right then, so let's imagine I've got a number and I'm just going to make it equal to 5. All right, and if I say if number is equal to 5, then print number is 5. Very simple, a little bit pointless program, but it's a good example of how we can use an if statement. So this is the statement here, and if the answer to this statement is true, or if this statement is a true statement, the code that is indented in here will run. Okay, it has to be indented. When you use the colon at the end there, Python will indent it for you. All right, if I get rid of the colon and I press return, it takes me to the start. If I use a colon, it indents it for me. All right, but it will keep indenting my code, so I kind of need to delete it back if I need to. But everything indented will be ran if this statement is true. If this statement is false, it will then go down and just look for the next code out of this statement. So I'm going to put else and then a colon and then print your number was not 5. Okay, so if this statement is true, this will run. If this statement is false, it will go to the next line and look. And now this line just says else. When Python says else, it just thinks anything else. That's what when Python says else, it just thinks anything else. Okay, so it's basically saying if it's 5, do this. If it is anything else at all, do that. All right, so if I run this now, it should say number was not 5 because we've already set number to 5 here. But let's have a look. All right, and you can see it says number is 5. Let's have a look. If number is equal to 5, number is 5. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. I think I just said number is not 5 when I ran that. I can't remember. Sorry if I did. So the number is equal to 5. So this statement is true. So we print that. But if I change this value to 7, now this statement becomes false. So it should skip over this and go to the next one. And the next one is else. So it means literally anything else. So if it's not this, literally anything else, print this. So let's see if this one works. Right, so you can see number was not 5 because this statement was false, so it didn't run this code. It went straight to the else statement and ran that. Okay, and when you finish your if statement, you can just continue on out of your code. Okay, when you continue out of your code, make sure you go back to the start. All right, now your if statement and your else statement need to be in line. Okay, so if you look here, this if here needs to be in line with this else. Now this is important because Python won't do that for you. Let me show you what I mean. When I'm coding here, and if I'm coding and I'm here with my cursor and I press return, Python will automatically try and put my code there like that. And this will give me an error. All right, invalid syntax. This is because this else statement needs to be level with my if statement. And then the print inside of the else needs to be level with the print inside of the if. Okay? So that is a very simple if statement, and if statements explain very simply. And in the next video, we will have a look at making more complex if statements using the keyword elif. And if we have time, we'll look at some Boolean operators too. So I'll see you then.